From the Fox Business Network headquarters in New York City, it's the Tom Sullivan Show. Here's your host, Tom Sullivan.
Time to cross the T's, dot the I's, rest of the week's top stories. Joining me now, Fox News Channel's Arthel Neville, political commentator Imogen Lloyd Weber, and former McCain campaign advisor Ford O'Connell. I want to start with gun sales. I mean, gun sales absolutely have been going up, especially in the month of November. They soared, but they've been going up now for a few years. And I know we're showing all kinds of different guns here, but basically we're talking about the local gun shop. Arthel, why are gun sales going up so much?
Well, apparently people who are gun enthusiasts believe that for some reason they need to get their firearms loaded, so to speak, they're stocked, for fear of having the guns taken away from them. The FBI did nearly 284,000 firearms background checks on Black Friday alone, compared to 215,000 last year. That was up 32%.
So what are we getting? A lot of Christmas gifts?
Yes.
Christmas gift
Here, honey, I got you a nice little Behringer. I don't know guns.
Imogen, I mean, there's all kinds of reasons for it. Some say it's the election. They're worried about, they don't like President Obama, and they're worried he's going to do something. And there's the UN talking about some gun treaty. What is it?
I can't really see that happening. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? Republicans are twice as likely as Democrats to own guns. There's always a bump if a Democratic president wins. We saw it under Clinton. We saw it under Obama first time round. For gun control to happen in this country, I actually think it's going to have to be a Republican to lead the way. Obama's not really touched gun control at all. So I think if we're going to see it, it's going to be a Republican saying, hang on a minute, deers don't wear flak jackets, no need for armor-piercing bullets.
All right. Ford, let me talk to you, because you can also throw in the economy. You can throw in the fact that a lot of cities are reducing their police force. There was a city attorney in San Bernardino that told the people to lock, they're bankrupt, to lock their doors and get their guns. Is that it?
Well, I mean, I think there's several reasons out there. I do think the dwindling law enforcement, the economic climate, but I do think that there's a big perception among gun enthusiasts that President Obama's hostile to the Second Amendment. Now that he's won a second term, that he's going to go after the guns due to past statements and actions in terms of, he likes to regulate things in their minds. And, the slippery slope says the guns will be next.
All right, so we got the economy, police departments, gun control, the UN, the presidential re-election.
And I don't think it's going to happen. Let's face it, when it came into the debate, Republicans, both Romney and Obama, basically avoided it.
All right, we'll go on.
Well, I disagree with that a little bit, Imogen. President Obama did say he'd like to reintroduce an assault ban legislation, so that's not entirely true.
I can't see him getting to it, though. I can't see him getting to it, though. I really can't.
Well,
what, because he doesn't
really
believe in it, or because
I think he wants to break the Republicans, who knows?
We'll see. I think there are other problems that he's got to face, and I think it will be a Republican that at the end of the day will lead this sort of legislation.
He says a lot of things that you're right. I mean, Imogen, he's said a lot of things about immigration reform too, and about Gitmo. So, is it just campaign talk?
Well, I think the NRA's fanning the flames a little bit, but I do think that there's an honest interest in the NRA in making sure the gun regulations are not whittled down, and I do think that under this administration and given sort of the public fear, we saw what happened with the Kansas City Chief player and some of the comments that Bob Costas has made. There's a real fear among gun owners that their rights may be whittled down.
All right, let's talk about Detroit, because the city of Detroit is about to run out of money. And I mean, out of cash sometime this month, and they're begging for a government bailout now. City councilwoman said, hey, we voted for you, President Obama. Yep. Come on. What, Imogen, let's start with you. Should we bail out Detroit, the federal government?
I think this is, as we would say in Britain, a bit of a storm in a teacup, because the White House, I think, has expressed no interest, as far as I know, in doing this bailout. It has, of course, happened in history. Gerald Ford did it in 1975, didn't he, with New York? But I'm not sure the White House is going to do it this time around.
That was the last time. But then again, Arthel, the whole business about bailouts, the stimulus plan in 2009, a lot of that money went to cities and states to help with teachers, police, fire, those sorts of things. Are we going to do it again maybe that way?
Well, I mean, listen, obviously there's so many fish to fry. The president has a lot of fish to fry at this point. I think that he's got to get the national affairs in order before he can go state by state. And you're right, Detroit's about to run out of money. By December 21st, a month ago, Tom, they had $53 million in the bank. Come December 21st, they will have about $3.6 million in the bank. They're losing money to resources. They were for instance, they're collecting less taxes. They have rising medical expenses. So they've got some problems, and we'll see if, in fact, the president can go to the Motor City and give them a help. I don't know.
You think he will?
I don't know. You know what? I haven't spoken to the president, believe it or not.
Well, call him, for heaven's sakes. Ford, bail out Detroit?
Absolutely not. I'm against bailouts. I think local government demands local responsibility over managing its finances. And frankly, in this situation, the state of Michigan has stepped in. And what they found with their advisory committee essentially is that, Mayor Dave Bing and the city council are dragging its feet on putting in the necessary reforms. And right now, if they're not going to take responsibility, why should the government help them? I don't think the government should help them anyway, particularly after what happened with Stockton, California, and the fact that it went belly up as well. Local government needs to manage its finances better.
It's kind of the blind leading the blind. The federal government's upside down. So Detroit, the difference is the federal government has a printing press. Speaking of printing, Webster out with their two most looked up words on the dictionary website in 2012. They were socialism and capitalism. I thought that was pretty interesting. Ford, let's start with you. Are we a capitalistic country now or a socialistic country?
Well, I think we're a capitalist-leaning country that has elected a president who likes basically socialist-style regulations on the private sector. And I think we've seen that based on the fact that the annual burden on the private sector among his major regulations is about $46 billion a year. And under President Bush, it was about $8 billion a year under the same regulations in the first 3 years. So I definitely think that we're leaning towards that way. And I saw a Christian Science poll that says 40% of Americans think that we're actually evolving towards a socialist-style country.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question. Arthel, are we still a capitalist country, or?
We are a capitalist country, red, white, and blue all the way, and that's the way it's going to be now and forever. And I think the word of the year should be mindful. People need to be more mindful of the words that come out of their mouths.
Imogen.
What gets me is the American definition of socialism is very different to the British definition of socialism. So according to the American definition, Margaret Thatcher, great conservative prime minister of our time, would be socialist. She had a national healthcare system. She didn't touch that. She didn't touch higher education. That was free in the UK. Now, to an American, that's socialist. And if you called Margaret Thatcher a socialist, she'd have hit you over the head with a handbag.
But she privatized a lot of the British government.
But at the same time, she was holding on to programs that apparently are socialist. So again, I've just always been confused. America is a capitalist country. You're a country of makers. I adore being here. Thank you for letting me be here.
Perfect.
And we like having
you. I didn't have anything to do with it.
I do agree with Arthel that we do need to be mindful of our words, but I do think that Americans take a very strong definition when it comes to socialism. Obviously, it's much different than the European definition, but I do think that there is a perception out there that we're becoming more of a socialist country.
We're becoming more European. Listen, Arthel Neville, Imogen Lloyd Weber, Ford O'Connell, thank you all.
Thanks, Tom.